Good morning, PRE-Algebra Honors, 7th grade. Let us begin our lesson today with a prayer. En el nombre del Padre, y del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amen. Offer up your own special intention. My special intention is for all of us to be safe and healthy, and hopefully we'll be quickly over this crisis that we are in. Dios te salve, María, llena eres de gracia. El Señor es contigo, bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros los pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. En el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amén. Know that I miss you all very much, and just it's tough. It's tough. So I'm experimenting by creating a video instead of giving you a lesson on paper. Hopefully this will help. The lesson today is we're going to be solving proportions. All right? Algebraic proportions. So not difficult. It goes back to solving equations. So you're going to have to make sure that in your notes, if you forgot, I'll review a little bit with you, but you can always go back to your notebook. And please take these notes in your notebook so you have it. So let's start with a proportion. A proportion is composed of two ratios, and a ratio is, another word for ratio is a fraction. So we're going to be working with fractions, so let's not get all weird about this, but here we go. First example, we're going to have 3 over x is equal to 5 over 4. Now, two ways of doing this. We could eliminate our fractions, but you know what? When we have two fractions like this and solving proportion, if you remember, I know I mentioned this, we can do cross products. We can do these cross products. So let's start off with a variable. 5 times x is 5x equals 4 times 3 is 12. And there we go. Now we can just solve it. It's a one-step equation. This is the multiplication equation. The opposite is division. Divide both sides by 5. This simplifies to 1. X is equal to 12 fifths. You can leave it like that. You know you don't have to change it into a mixed fraction, but it does have to be simplified if it's a possibility. That's our first example. Not too difficult. Let's go over to our next one. 4 over 21 is equal to a negative 2 over 15a. All right? Larger numbers. All right, so let's just begin right here. All right? We're going to do the cross products. I like to start with the variable, putting the variable on the left-hand side. You can start anywhere you want. That's fine with me. So we're going to multiply these two, and we'll get 60a is equal to, remember your sign, negative 42. All right? Now, we're going to divide both sides by 60. All right? This will give us 1. Simplifies to 1. A is equal to negative 42 over 60. Now, you should all see that we can simplify that. All right? Greatest common factor is just right now, or we can just simplify whatever. The greatest common factor is simplify as best you can. Keep your negative. Let's say we divide by 2. So we're going to get 21 over 30. All right? Now, can we divide? Well, it's still divisible by 3, correct? All right. So we're going to go A is equal to negative, we do 3, 7 over 10. Negative 7 over 10, all right? Now, again, it's easier if you just do by the greatest common factor, but I'm going step by step. Obviously, we did 2 and 3, so 6 would have been your greatest common factor, and that's okay. Either way, as long as you get the right answer, we carry it, and we get a negative 7 tenths, all right? Next, now, you're looking at two fractions, but sometimes it's a whole number, sometimes it can be a fraction. All right, a little bit more complex now. X minus 4 over 3 is equal to 2 over 15. Difference of these two, each numerator and denominator was a single number. Now we have a binomial. No problem. This times this, so I'm just going to rewrite it the long way. 15 times the x minus 4 is equal to 6. Try not to skip steps because sometimes you can make a mistake if you start to multiply. Write it out and now multiply. So we're going to distribute, obviously, 15x minus, all right? So here we have another 60 is equal to 6. Two-step equation. Some of you were having issues before, so make sure that you look at this. All right, and say, okay, my 15x is on my left-hand side. I'm going to add 60. So you have 15x is equal to 66. Now we'll divide both sides by 15. All right, this simplifies to 1. X is going to equal, well now, greatest common factor, we could say, or any number that divides, 3. So we divide by 3, all right, and we get 22 over 5. Can we simplify any further? You should say no. We're finished. Answer is 22 over 5, all right? All right, let's look at another example. Let me erase this. All right. Next example, a little bit more, so 2 binomials. So we have 2n minus 3 over 5 is equal to n plus 2 over 6. All right, taking that same example there, we're going to use the distributive property, but let's write it out. So I'm just going to start with this one here. You start with this one here, doesn't matter. 6 times 2n minus 3 is equal to 5 times n plus 2. Distributive property, we have 12n minus 18 is equal to 5n plus 10. Now, on this one, again, check your notes way back when we did equations. On this one, look at your 2 terms that you have here. Select the one that has the lesser of the 2 coefficients. 5 is less than 12. The absolute value of 5 is less than 12. So therefore, I'm going to move this to the left-hand side by doing its opposite operation, subtracting 5n. Do it one step at a time. This cancels out. Look at my equal sign. They all line up. 12n minus 5n. Everyone should say 7n. Very good. Positive. Minus 18 is equal to 10. All right, not too bad. Now, since my variables, my terms are on the left-hand side, I'm going to move that 18 over by adding 18, doing its opposite operation. So I have 7n is equal to 28. Divide both sides by 7 because this is a multiplication. Opposite is division. And equals 4. All right, so what did we do? We cross products. We did the 6 times the 2n minus 3, 5 times the n plus 2. Distributed, combined, move our terms to one side, move the numbers to the other. We get a final answer. To check that, you can substitute 4 in here. So you say 8 minus 3 over 5 is equal to 4 plus 2, which is 6 over 6, should equal each other, all right? Very good. Any questions there? Let me know, all right? As we go through, hopefully I'll answer your questions as you see the examples. If not, you can always email me. But again, look at your examples. Try to figure it out. Next one. Looks kind of easy, but some of you may have questions on it. What's the main difference here? Well, we know we don't have, 8 is not a fraction, but can we make it a fraction? Sure we can. 8 over 1. So now it just becomes n times 8 is 8n is equal to 3 times 1 is 3. Divide both sides by 8. Simplifies to 1. N is equal to 3/8. Just wanted to point that out there because you're going to get some that are whole numbers. Put it over 1 and then you're good to go. All right? All right. Now, the next set of problems that I'm going to give you differ a little bit from these. Same procedure almost, but a little bit different. All right, so here's an example. X over 7 plus x over 3 is equal to 10. So what's our main difference here? Well, the main difference you should see is that we don't have one fraction equaling another fraction. We have one fraction plus another fraction equals 10. A little bit different. Unfortunately, with these, you cannot do cross products. But if you remember how we did fractions, algebraic fractions, then the concept is basically the same. I want to eliminate the 7 and 3. So we look and say, what's the common denominator? You should all say 21. So we're going to multiply times 21. Now here's what you're going to do. Be very careful. I'm going to put the 21 on both sides so you can see it. You're going to divide. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 3 times the numerator x is 3x. Guess what? I just eliminated that fraction. 21 divided by 3 is 7. 7 times x is a positive 7x equals 10 times 21, 210. Hey, less complex now. So now I just combine here. I get 10x equals 210. That's going to be easy. Divide by 10. Simplifies to 1. X equals, we divide by 10. X equals 21. So notice what we did. In order to solve this equation, we eliminated multiplied by the common denominator, both sides. Don't forget, both sides. Let me do another one. What about this one? 3a over 5 minus a over 2 is equal to 1 over 20. Well, a lot of fractions. So in this case, what would be our common denominator? I hope you look at this and say, hey, I think 20 would be a common denominator, all right? So we're going to multiply everything by 20. Now be very careful how we do this. 20 divided by 5, 4 you should have said. 4 times 3a is 12a. Be careful. Minus 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 times a is 10a. Equals, well this is going to be easy. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. How simple? We can't get any simpler than that. All right, next one. 12a. Now we're going to combine. 12a minus 10a is 2a equals 1. Divide both sides by 2. Coefficient simplifies to 1. A is equal to 1/2. Great. Not difficult. Just multiply by the common denominator in order to eliminate the fraction, and then we have a very simple problem. Complex it looks, we simplified it, made it a lot easier to solve. All right, let's get another example. All right, next example. Now be careful with this one, all right? Watch this one. X minus 3 minus x plus 2 over 5 equals 2. Now, looking at this, I want you to think back when we did our algebraic fractions and we had a minus sign and we had a binomial. What I tell you, make sure that you did because you don't want to run into complications. I immediately said, make sure in this, when you see a minus sign and a binomial, put parentheses around it. And there's a reason for that. And you'll see that in just a few seconds. So now let's look and concentrate. 3 and a 5. What's a common denominator? Hopefully you said 15. We're going to multiply both sides by 15. Ready? Here we go. 15 divided by 3. 5. 5 times x, 5x. Got rid of that fraction. Minus, be careful. 15 divided by 5. 3. There's my negative. 3 times the x plus 2. Write it down first, and then you can distribute. Some of you want to distribute immediately, and you might make a mistake. So be careful. Equals 15 times 2 is 30. Okay, so now it just goes back to an equation we're going to solve. So there we go, 5x, distribute. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Make sure you get the sign. And negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 equals 30. We're going to combine these two here. That's going to give us 2x minus 6 equals 30. All right, two-step equation. Variables on this side, I'm going to add 6. I'm going to move the 6 over. Cancel. 2x equals 36. So x, in this case, would equal 18. All right, very good. All right, so notice what we did. When we have a binomial that's preceded by a negative sign, put your parentheses so you don't forget. All right, because if that, instead of it being 3, if that would have been a 1, some of you just might have put down x plus 2. And notice it would have been an x. The opposite here would be negative x minus 2 if we had that one. But we had a 3, so we brought the negative with us on that. All right? Let's try another one. All right, here we go. 2n plus n over 3 is equal to n over 4 plus 5. So I made a combination now of fractions and terms. Well, let's look at it. If you have an issue with this, you can put each one of these over 1. Shouldn't be an issue. 3 and 4, a common denominator, you should have said 12. Now, this is straightforward. If you put over 1 is 12 divided by 1 is 12 times that. Just multiply 12 times 2n is 24n plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times n is 4n. That equals 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times n is 3n plus 12 times 5 is 60. All right. So now, let's combine here. We have these two n's. Why do we want to move them over? Let's combine. We should get 28n is equal to 3n plus 60. Now, since my n's, I have a 28n over here and a 3n plus 6. Let me move that 3n over since the 6 is already on this side. So I'm just going to subtract 3n. This cancels, so we have 25n is equal to 6. Divide both sides by 25. So n should give you 6 over 25. And yes, you can get a fraction. All right? You can get a fraction, so there's no issues there. All right? Any questions so far? If you do, again, look at your examples. Look at that and make sure. Now, the one other thing that I'd like to clarify, just because you will encounter these in these equations, you will have some that are going to be, their answer is going to be identity. Now, just to refresh your memory on identity. Identity is once you get down to a situation here, all right, after you distribute and combine and everything, once you get down to that, identity means that both sides mirror each other. So it could be 2x plus 5 equals 5 plus 2x. Signs are the same. It could be written differently. Let's say another identity, negative 3x plus 2 could be 2 minus 3x. They're both the same, negative 3x plus 2. These are called identity. Right? That means, right, that their solution, the actual answer here is identity, but it would be the solution of all real numbers. That means any number I put in, I substitute in for x, will make this a true equation. 1 will equal 1, or 2 will equal 2, or 3 will equal 3, and so on. The next one you're going to get is a no solution type that you might experience. A no solution looks close to an identity. Right? Your variables will be the same. The terms, I should say. But notice, the numbers are not. So they don't mirror each other. The variables will be the same, but the numbers are not. If I was to subtract, to solve this here, I go, okay, subtract 2x. And you get, oh, these cancel out, so I get 4 equals 5. Is that a true statement? No, it is not. So therefore, there is no solution for this one. This would be a no solution. This would be an identity or solution of all real numbers. Later on in 8th grade, you'll be saying all real numbers. All right? So that in a nutshell is our solving proportions. We went to a fraction equals a fraction, and then more complex where we have to eliminate the fractions. All right? Again, hopefully this will be a two-week lesson. All right? Next week I'll give you the following assignment that's here, but at least you have everything there. And if you have any questions, you can email me. Again, I think you all know my email. I'll put it right here. hrodriguez@sbdiocese.org. Make sure it's .org and not .com because they'll never come to me. .org is our email. So again, if you do have an issue, email me. I'll help you. I will want to give you answers. All right? But consult your notes if you have issues on solving equations. You've had equations in 6th grade. You had them also again. So make sure that you check your notes on that. All right? Have a great day. I will be sending you emails and everything with your assignment for this week. All right? God bless. Thank you.